Make sure to subscribe and click that notification bell if you want to get the videos as soon as they upload.
How are you doing as I check our connection? A couple messages for the viewers, so pick a section, have a seat. Yeah, I know this is different. Quit with the questions. Allow me a second, please, to make my first impression.
YouTube, what up? Welcome back to another Pounds 978 custom video. And today I want to talk to you guys about the Negative Zone Spider-Man. On this retro card, looks amazing. So if you see this, it's definitely going to catch your eye. It's super pretty. It's a nice looking figure. The card makes it look even better. So this is awesome. I know a lot of people are going to have issues with it for two reasons. One, it shouldn't be in this retro card, and two, it's missing webs, but maybe not. We'll get into that. People are saying that they should have given us a Negative Zone Spider-Man from the Gamerverse, which is understandable. I get it. But this is a pretty decent figure, and I do want to break down my likes and don't likes about it. If you guys have 10 minutes or so, bear with me. Really quick, I walked into my Target yesterday. They didn't have anything on the shelf, but I asked two employees that were stocking other things if they had this particular figure. One lady told me, oh no, we don't keep anything in the back. And I said, of course you do. I usually come and you guys pull things out of the back for me. So she looked at me with a confused face and she was like, let me go check. And when she checked, she came back with a Negative Zone Spider-Man and told me, oh, we had 6 in the back. I said, 6? Damn, why don't you bring the whole 6 out? She's like, you want all 6? I said, no, I probably want 3 or 2 out of the 6. So she brought the whole 6 out. Long story short is, don't be afraid to ask employees for items that are in the back. The worst they can tell you is no. And even if things are street dated, the worst they can tell you is no. So don't be afraid. Moving on. Crazy how Cyborg Spider-Man was revealed first, yet Negative Zone Spider-Man was at my local Target. This is a really attractive figure. Now, people have said and will continue to say the problem with this guy is that he doesn't have webs. And that is not my problem with this guy. I have 2 other problems.
Got 99 problems, but chain one.
The webs aren't it. And let me explain. I believe Hasbro went with the first comic reference pick that they found, and probably one of the only reference picks for Spider-Man, for Negative Zone Spider-Man anyway, because everything else was in video games. Every other image you got from this guy was from video games. So with that said, I think Hasbro did a good job with not making him with webs. Again, the first time I made this actually was without webs. I made this custom 4 years ago, and like Hasbro, I went off the reference picture with no webs. So I thought that's how he looked. I made it, and then I found Shattered Dimensions and other images that he had webs on. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna go back and remake it with webs. And that's what I did. I would like another one with webs and one without webs, to be fair. Because with webs, it looks really great. It's just really hard to look at sometimes. It's off-putting in a way. Would this figure look better with webs? Maybe. I mean, it would hide those imperfections for sure. And I haven't told you about them yet. But maybe it would. I'm not upset. I like it this way, honestly. I would prefer if they gave us another one later down the line from the Gamerverse in the white box. That would be cool as heck, on a bigger body too. But I'm not holding my breath for that because the PS4 Spider-Man game is old and now Miles is in, so hopefully they'll give us some Miles costumes. And people are super excited about having all the interchangeable hands that we were supposed to get with Spider-Man for every release. Not supposed to, but we're entitled. Come on. Give us our whip hands, open hands, and fists. We're not asking for much with Spider-Man. We don't even want those webs that you guys have been creating lately. Like, keep those. All right, here's 1 out of 3 problems for me. 1, the pizza slice. As cool as it looks, when you're comparing it to the other 2, as cool as it looks, it's not necessary because with Pizza Spider-Man and the Retro Spider-Man, they actually gave us a half unmasked head. So it looks like he's actually eating the pizza. Without this head, for the Negative Zone, this pizza's pretty useless. I know it looks cool and I know it's kind of a, but it's not necessary. Black and whites, a really nice looking figure. I gotta be honest, man. Be careful because I'm afraid the white might get dirty, but the paint is pretty neat too. I'm not gonna lie. There's a few places that could be improved, but for the most part, it looks really nice. You see some fuzzy parts. Most of this figure is molded in white. A few parts in black, being the lower arms and the feet are molded in black. I think the shoulders are also, I think the shoulders are white, honestly. I couldn't tell you. But everything else is painted black. The head is also molded in black. The lower legs, you gotta be careful. Anything painted white, you gotta be careful with, because if you scratch that paint off, you're screwed. And you can see that some of the black still seeps through the white where in the joints are and stuff like that. But that's not a big deal. You're not gonna expect perfection with a $20 action figure. But I will expect at least symmetry somehow, right? Because sometimes that's important. And what's pretty obvious to me here, I don't know if you can see it, is the arms. You see the both shoulders, how you see more white on your left side and not on the right side. That's kind of an issue for me. I need symmetry. Same thing with the back. Let's say perhaps if I were to line up this right arm with the right shoulder, and then, you know what, this is almost perfect, so don't get me wrong, it's just me being nitpicky, but I need symmetry. So when you turn it around, you can see that this left shoulder, it's his right shoulder, but to your left side, that it almost lines up, the other one doesn't. The other one has more paint on it than it should, and the other one looks almost perfect, honestly. And that kind of bothers me in a way, because the front is where you're going to see the figure the most. So if you lift these arms up, you can see that this left arm on the right side has a lot more black paint on it than the other one does. And you could clean that off, I guess, with some acetone, but you might leave smudge marks. Another issue that coincides with the paint is the arms, the biceps, the way they're painted, the black on them. You see, if I line it up, the right arm sticks back far more than the left arm. Again, this is really picky stuff, because for most of you guys, you won't really notice, but because I paint Spider-Man on a regular basis, I'm pretty familiar with where the paint should line up with the shoulders to his arms to his back. So when I notice things like this, it just bugs me and it makes me want to fix it. And I think that's how I got into customs. Remember, I even said that in the song.
I picked a few more up, started collecting, feeling grand as I stand back and marvel at the legends. But quick inspections, I could notice imperfections, every figure disfigured, so I figured I'd correct them.
And that's how it started, just finding tiny imperfections that I wanted to fix. Like this one right here in the back. I feel like this needs a little more black just to even up with the rest of the line work. Same thing with the left arm, you'll have to do that too. But I'm gonna figure it out. Let me know if you guys want me to make a somewhat tutorial on fixing Negative Zone Spider-Man. We'll probably even add the webs. By the way, the emblem on the front of his chest is a little lopsided. The one on the back is a little fuzzy. Not a big deal. But again, let me know if you want me to make a video called Fixing Negative Zone Spider-Man. One boot looks painted higher than the other one. It's not that really noticeable, but I can notice it. The one on the right, his left boot, is higher than the one on the other side. Negative Zone Spider-Man in comparison to Pizza Spider-Man, the Raft Spider-Man, and the Symbiote. Seeing they're all on the same body, they all use the same exact parts, minus the Symbiote, he has different head. Same thing with the McFarlane style, different head. But my issue isn't with the head swap, it's more with, and this is the third issue by the way, the articulation changes. And I get it, I understand why Hasbro did it, but I don't like it. And let me explain. They really did a number on the articulation with this Pizza Spider-Man body. And I mean, it's not a lot of things changed, but two things that for me are really important when it comes to articulation with action figures. And one is the butterfly shoulder joints. You can see that they really minimized the articulation here by adding an extra piece to prevent it from breaking. And I know you guys are like, what are you talking about? I had a couple of these Symbiote Spider-Man when they first released, and maybe 3 out of 4 of them would break at the shoulder piece. So I made a video on it, and then I know a lot of people were having the same issues. A lot of the shoulder joints were breaking. It was getting stuck, glued in too tight. I don't know what it was, but a lot of them were breaking. You can see the range difference between Pizza Spider-Man and Negative Zone. You can see Pizza Spider-Man stretches his arms all the way back. They can go all the way forward, where the Negative Zone can't do that. So what happened was, since the breakage of the black suit, they ended up adding another piece in the butterfly joint to prevent it from breaking. And it started with the Symbiote Spider-Man from the Kingpin wave, then they did it with Big Time, and then they're doing it with this guy. And in a way that kind of bothers me, because it's really important to have Spider-Man be able to flex in certain poses that most action figures can't. So when you restrict it, it's so bothersome, honestly. If you think I'm lying or exaggerating, pick up your Pizza Spider-Man, pick up your Negative Zone or your Big Time or your Symbiote Spider-Man from the Kingpin wave, and examine the upper torso and the butterfly joints, and you'll see they have new pieces inside that to restrict the butterfly joint, but again, it prevents it from bending all the way back and breaking it. But that wasn't the issue. Bending the butterfly joint forward and back didn't break it. It was because the peg was glued into a socket that was usually glued in, and you couldn't move the butterfly joint, so when you moved it, it would just twist and snap that peg off, and that was the issue. Same thing with the ab crunch. Doesn't allow you to go down 2 clicks like the Pizza Spider-Man does. You see you have 2 clicks. You get 1, 2, and that brings you all the way down to a pretty decent ab crunch. With negative zone, you get one click, no problem. And then the other click is so tight that you can't even force it down because it'll spring pop its way back up. It's like, pop, it just come right back up regardless. Had the same issues with Big Time and the same issue with the Symbiote Spider-Man. And again, it's something they're doing with this upper torso that's messing up the classic Pizza Spider-Man. And I'll be honest, I was one of those guys that said, bring the Pizza Spider-Man body back. I know a lot of people wanted the super articulated body for this guy, and that's cool too, or Sunfire, and that's cool too. But I still like this Pizza Spider-Man body. But I gotta say, if they continue to give us figures like this that don't move, I'm not gonna buy another Spider-Man on this body. And I promise, that's my word to you guys. If they make another Spider-Man on the Pizza Spider-Man body that's restricted, I promise I won't buy any more. So you got one more chance. And I know Hasbro doesn't care about my opinion. Many of you probably don't even care about my opinion, and that's fine. I'm just saying I'm not gonna be suckered into buying these restricted bodies anymore when I know it can be done the right way. You see, Symbiote Spider-Man is also flexible, just like the Pizza Spider-Man. But he was the reason why I think Hasbro went back to fix it in the first place, because a lot of those figures broke.
So it goes up and down. Holy sh! But it's not unlocked yet. See how it's moving back slowly? Can't keep it closed. This opens, this closes. This will not open all the way, and it'll just push back. This is not, it's not fixed. So let's go back to this one. This is the same thing. Not fixed.
But it's unacceptable. Now I know that sounded like a lot of complaints, because this figure is still really nice. It looks good, it's easy on the eyes. It'll stand out on your shelf amongst the other spiders. Most definitely still worth the $20 they're asking for it. With or without webs, this figure looks amazing. I don't care what anybody says. I actually like it without webs. Again, I still wish they give us one with webs down the line, but I like it without webs. That's not my complaint. My only complaint is more the articulation, even the paint apps. I'm not mad about that. I'm only upset more about the ab crunch and the butterfly joints. Everything else is acceptable. I do like this figure. I do recommend it. You can get it at Target. You can buy online November 29th and find in store if you ask an employee. Don't be afraid, just ask them. They'll say no, well, whatever, who cares, as long as you tried. Head swap really quick if you wanted to swap. The other symbiote head that came in the 2-pack with Craven looks pretty cool too, but I think you have to paint it black and white to kind of match the body, right? Anyway, guys, if you like this video and you want to see more Spider-Man customs and reviews, feel free to give me a thumbs up. Comment down below what you think about this and everything I thought about this. Feel free to subscribe if you want to see more Spider-Man content, and click that notification bell.
If you choose to subscribe, you the man. Yes, you. Everyone below in the comments, yes, you too. Thank you very much for showing me love. Who knew? It's ironic how we think out the box for you too, right?
Sing, 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 sing. Everybody.